but I do want to play the video. As we said, the president was putting out another video, and he just has. We have obtained it from the White House. I'll play it.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election, and emotions are high. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, just over 2 minutes there. The President of the United States, 30 hours after what happened, coming out on tape, not speaking live, calling it an outrage, the mayhem, the desecration, reading from a prompter there. He did notably say that the election had been certified and that a new administration would be taking over on January 20th. He, of course, did not use Joe Biden's name. He did not formally concede. He did say, of course, that the journey was just beginning with his supporters. This is, though, very different than what he said yesterday. My panel is with me. So, Dana, what's your reaction to this as we hear it now?
Well, it is obviously a very different tone. You asked about what's going on inside the White House, the fact that there was a lot of pressure on him and has been a lot of pressure on him from the very few people who remain around him, some of whom had wanted to resign and have been asked not to resign, to try to keep him as sort of, on target as he possibly can be. So, yes, he, for the first time, accepted the reality that there will be a new president, claimed that he wants a peaceful transition because he was begged to do that after the violence that took lives, violence that he incited. But there's just, there are a couple things we need to call out. The most egregious, Aaron, is at the beginning, where he talked about the fact that he immediately deployed the National Guard. No, he didn't.
Not true.
Not only did he not immediately deploy the National Guard, you had his vice president, who he wasn't talking to, in a secure location after he was whisked off the Senate floor, being called by the Republican and Democratic leadership in Congress saying, where is the National Guard? We cannot get this under control. And it was the vice president who had to make an additional call to the Pentagon to say, we need help. So that is a total lie. And the other thing I will just say, just in terms of the mechanics of this, he put this video on Twitter. So I said before he can't tweet. It seems as though his Twitter account is back.
Right, his Twitter account is back. But, you know, and let's go back to Caitlin here. Again, this is not something that he did live. Joe Biden has addressed the nation live twice in the past 30 hours, right? Donald Trump has not yet done so. Caitlin, this is on video, but obviously done under immense pressure from those remaining around him.
Yeah, well, and also he's saying a lot of things that were not consistent with what we were told by people who were speaking to the president and around the president yesterday. But I do think this is Donald Trump's concession speech. This is as close as we are getting to it. We've talked about other moments where the president kind of acknowledged he might not be in office. This is the first time, even though he does not name Joe Biden, that he is clearly acknowledging that there will be a new administration. And when he says that, he's not talking about a second Trump administration, as he said so many times over the last few months as he's contested these results and fought back against them. He is finally acknowledging that, and he is committing to a peaceful transition of power on camera, in his own words, though, of course, scripted here, but it is the president himself actually saying it, which does mean something different to his supporters as they are receiving this and they're being receptive to what it is the president is saying. Though, of course, we should note it is January 7th, and it took this long for the president to get here. And it took a mob of his supporters breaching the Capitol for us to get this video from the president. And we didn't get this video yesterday. We got it, you know, this is like his fifth iteration of a response to what happened yesterday. But it is the president acknowledging he will not be in office 2 weeks from now. And I do think it's in response to a lot of the threats of mass resignations that talk about removing him from office. This is the president trying to tamp down that response and what these final few days could look like. And though we should note, he did not instantly deploy the National Guard as he claims at the beginning of this video. Multiple sources said he pushed back against it. He also says that he doesn't agree with he's outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem from yesterday. That's not what we were told by sources who had been speaking to him, who said he had a much different reaction. But it is notable he is finally coming out with this video now.
I know that many had said he was borderline enthusiastic, and of course that is clearly the truth because he didn't condemn it. He didn't do anything of the sort, right, until now. So, David Gergen, contextualize this. Obviously, it appears this, you know, look, he couldn't bring himself to say Joe Biden's name, right? That wasn't able to go that far. But this is an admission that he will not be president on January 20th. I guess this is what we'll get.
Yes, it is valedictory in many ways. I think Caitlin's right. It sounds of all the concession speech. But, Aaron, this man has incredible chutzpah. You know, to come out and make that speech after he was the one who incited a mob to capture Capitol Hill as if he were the one who was rescuing the country. And to come out and make all these other claims, I don't know how we're going to resolve his future, but he no longer deserves the benefit of the doubt when he makes a presidential speech, in which he probably doesn't believe about half of it or more than that.
You know, certainly not. Again, yesterday, what he was saying, right, about the rigging and all of the things, right? So he didn't use the word rig this time. You know, there was no way that was going to be allowed. I think it's been made clear to him by people around him. Harry, a question to you is, what impact does something like this have, right? We're talking about 30 hours after the fact, right? When you talk about the whole situation here of people looking at him and people resigning and 25th Amendment and people investigating his role and the possibility of charges, this is not relevant at all to the charges, obviously, correct? But it could be to people's 25th Amendment pursuit.
Yes, I think it is what motivated it, but it isn't relevant. A couple points. First, there's a chilling aspect here, the very end, where he says this is just beginning. Yep. So he's announcing that Trumpism will continue. That has to give everyone pause. Second, these are the same people who he said yesterday, literally, he loves them. So it's going to be hard to find that very persuasive. And there was overall sort of robotic quality to the speech, but he was obviously woodshedded and felt he had to do this, perhaps in part because he's persuaded that even his 13-day handle on power may be slipping.
And to be clear, Harry also said, those who broke the law, to those who broke the law, you will pay. Obviously, that is the opposite of what he was saying yesterday. But, you know, when you look at sedition and inciting, he himself may have broken the law, right? He incited this.
Very much. So there's the seditious conspiracy and a regular sedition, assuming no 25th Amendment, which I think will not happen, and no impeachment, which I think is a little less likely. That's what they'll be looking at. And one of the two charges disables him from holding office permanently. That'll be a serious upside that the department will consider.
Dana, he's also playing the game here. I think it's safe to say, but he's played again and again, right? You go up to the line. This is what he's tried to do before. And then you do just enough to get, your Republicans back on board, right? Back on board, everybody, get back on board. Mm-hmm. How different will this be? You have Barr, you have McMaster, you have Kelly just calling for the 25th Amendment. People who had worked for him left and remained silent, now speaking out, right? You have multiple Republicans on Capitol Hill calling for the 25th Amendment. You have mass resignations. Does this change anything?
Yes, because you said that we've seen so many times the president go up to the line and then pull back. He crossed the line. He stomped on the line. He desecrated the line. And that is the reason why we have seen so many people come out, from John Kelly to Barr to, people who had to resign, or not had to, but they felt the need to resign currently from his administration. That is the big difference. And, he is finally, seeing some form of the light, but it is obviously too little too late. When it comes to his legacy, it is too little too late when it comes to people in his party following him blindly, like they have for the most part, or at least, biting their tongue like they have for the most part. That is not going to change. And yes, Trumpism will be around. Even what happened yesterday won't stop that. But the fire is a lot less intense than it was.